And I hope that my story will inspire you to discover who you were before the world had put label on you. So this book has 17 beautiful chapters, and I must say that as I read this book, I could literally see myself in Viola's shoes. The things that she had experienced, I had also experienced. Her parents fought a lot, but unfortunately or fortunately for her, her parents stayed together. My parents did not end up together. They were struggling, they were very, very poor. They moved from one place to another place. They would be chased out by the landlords because they could not afford rent. I've been through all of that. We would move from this family member to the next family member. We had no place to stay. We did not have a place called home. And if you're watching this and you know me personally, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We would move from one family member to the next, and by the time we moved, we were never told to move. We would just see the environment. We could just read the room that, oh, okay, our time is up. And then we'd move to the next family member until we could afford to rent our own house. But still, it was a struggle to even pay that rent. Things were very, very difficult for Viola and her family. So was my experience as well. Things were very, very, very difficult back then. So I could literally see myself through this lady, and I wept. I was excited. I was just full of emotions reading this book because it reminded a lot about where I come from and how fearless I am right now and how confident I am right now. This girl was struggling with self-acceptance. She struggled with self-esteem. I also struggled with that as well. I did not think I was good enough. I did not think that I was, I was a big girl, and I thought that maybe it's only thin girls that are well accepted by the society. All those things, and the only defense I had was that I was gonna do well at school. So was she. She was an excellent student from the early grades up until she went to university. She did extremely well, and I also did the same. My only confidence came from my academics. So you could ridicule me, you could bully me, you could shame me, but I just knew that Oksalayo, I will do well. I'm an A student. I'll be position 1. Back then, okay, we used to have position 1, 2, and 3. So I literally could see myself through this lady. All right, let's get into it. So she speaks about her experience of being bullied at school. She used to go to a white school, so there were only a few black people in that school, and the kids that she would go to school with would call her ugly. They would say that she's ugly and she wouldn't be successful. And every time when the bell rang, she used to run for her life because apparently there were these schoolboys who would chase after her and call her names and just try to beat her up for no particular reason, just because she was black. It was crazy, right? So she endured all of that up until to a point where she decided that she will not stand it, and she fought. She stood up and she fought. Now let me fast forward to a 16-17-year-old Viola. There was a program that came into Rhode Island where they were looking for young actors. So this was an upward program that was essentially training them about being an actor, what it takes to be an actor, and how difficult it is for one to make it in the industry. So she was told that, if she wanted to be an actor, she must just be prepared that it's gonna be hard. It's not for the faint-hearted. And you know what? She responded to the trainer that I'm prepared I'm prepared to endure all of that. I have been through a lot. I was poor, I am still poor, I've been bullied, I have experienced, domestic violence, I was ridiculed, I was exposed to shameful and horrible things. So if becoming an actor is difficult, then it's a road that I'm willing to take, because I have nothing else to lose. I have nothing else to lose but just to be an actor and do well for myself and be successful. I thought that was really, really powerful. So my assessment as I read this book was that Viola's trauma, Viola's experiences gave her confidence. She was so confident to a point whereby she was prepared to do anything that was going to help her out of poverty. However, there was still self-esteem issues, because remember, this is the lady that was constantly told that she was ugly. So those issues on self-acceptance and self-esteem would creep in as she journeyed in her career. So Viola also speaks about her dating life and the fact that boys were just not there for love. They were there for the, I don't want to mention it, but she was never loved by these boys. She started dating at a very, I would say, at a fairly good age, but even though she waited, men still took advantage of her. But then she spoke about her journey of constantly trying to fit in, be it friendships, be it dating. And then she went to college, she graduated, she still excelled, she did well, exceptionally well. She got her degree, but she also brings us through her struggles post obtaining the degree, that it was very hard for her to get jobs that would enable her to be a successful actor or actress, a successful actress. She's telling us about how difficult it was, to a point whereby she was even working at a call center at some point, even though she had graduated. She worked at a call center. She took some odd jobs just to earn a living. And also in her acting career, there were roles that she would accept that were not paying so well, but because she needed the experience, she took in those jobs. And I think this is something that our society needs to also be accustomed to, because we have people with degrees, people with fancy degrees, who are not willing to take our jobs because they are well educated. Why should I take that job? I just thought about myself when I read this part, because I took in so many odd jobs. It's ridiculous, the things that I did post my first degree. It's ridiculous. So Viola also speaks about that here, that even as an actor, she would get jobs that were not paying well. She would get jobs that were going to show only at theater, and it's not your most watched plays, but she would still take those roles because she needed to earn a living. She spoke about her journey through therapy. Now again, let's fast forward. She now gets a job. She now gets jobs that are actually recognizing her as an actress. Still not paying that much, but I mean, she's now traveling. She's in between New York and LA doing amazing work. But there was still an inner child that was not healed. So she took us through that journey of therapy, though she did not say much, but she does tell us that she became very close with her therapist. And in life, no matter who you want to become, there is no way that you can make it without therapy. There is no way that you can do it in whichever profession you are in, without therapy. Therapy is important. Therapy allows us to carry on. Therapy allows us to keep sane. So Viola also tells us about the relationship with her parents and the relationship that her parents had. The fact that they used to fight a lot. Her father used to beat her mother, and her mother would bleed. Neighbors would know whenever there's a quarrel, it is because those two were fighting. And she gives us a background that, you know, her mother also had a very difficult upbringing. Her father, he also had a difficult upbringing, and they both did not finish school. Her mother was told at school that she was ugly. She used to be beaten by this teacher, and there was a day whereby she decided she was not going back to school because there was no way that she could endure that. And then her father went to school up to a second grade, and he only learned how to write at the age of 15. Imagine those things. So her parents had a lot to deal with themselves. And recall, guys, that back then therapy was not something that was within our reach. Now you have two people who are married and they have kids and they have not healed, and life happens and they are now forced to deal with life. And so babe goa, and they used to fight a lot, and one way or another that affected the kids, and it affected Viola as well. So those are the things that she was just pointing out in the book, and the fact that therapy has helped her a lot. And she grew to have a very good relationship with her mother. And I just want to read a quote. When she speaks about her mother, she writes this quote, and she says, "One of the beauty of getting older is getting to know your parents." And this is where she started to have conversations with her parents and getting to understand where they were coming from and why they were brought up the way they were brought up. So in essence, I would say that Viola, she was just sobering towards uncomfortable truth, because she take us through her journey, her experiences, her upbringing, and how she made a decision alone that she was going to be successful. And she was so proud of herself, even though her parents were proud of herself, but she was so proud of herself that she managed to be the person that she had always wanted to be. Now, guys, I cannot end this video without telling you about how Viola met so many frogs until she met Julius. Julius is Viola's husband, but the story about how they met, it's so beautiful. So they met on set, and Viola was new in New York, and sorry, was it LA or New York? But Viola was new in the area, and they met, and Julius gave Viola his card so that she can call him when she is available. 6 weeks later, Viola calls, but before she could even make a call, she tells us about a beautiful story where she had prayed for a partner. She had prayed for a tall, dark, handsome someone who was married before, someone who had kids already, because she did not want the pressure of having kids. She had struggles of struggling with fibroids, and she was once pregnant before from a previous relationship, but she had made a conscious decision not to have the baby because she was still trying to build herself up. So she had terminated that pregnancy. Now fast forward, she meets Julius, and on their first date they were just literally compatible. And when they separated, she says that Julius would call every 20 minutes. And I think it's a beautiful story. Now, the story about Viola and Julius, you could see it's a beautiful and wonderful story. And also, this is the first time where Viola is being protected. This is the first time where Viola is being loved, because she comes from a family where, you know, it was so traumatic and full of, you know, violence. And she took care of her siblings. She took care of herself. She was only concerned about being successful, about making it in life. She had boyfriends wanted to take away from her. So her story and Julius is a wonderful one, because you could see that Julius now was a destination point. Julius took care of her. Julius loved her. Julius protected her, and they eventually got married. And now Viola adopted a child. I forgot her name, but it ends on a very beautiful note that she had found herself, she had found her career, she had made it as an actress. She acted on big stages, on big productions, but also she had met Julius, who loved her and who did not want to make her change anything about herself. Julius, who had embraced her as a strong Black woman. And yeah, that's essentially is Finding Me. And I hope that you purchase the book, and if you had read the book, you can just share your takeaways with us on the comment section. Thank you so much. It was a really wonderful read, and like I said, I read the book and I stopped, and then I had to come back to it again because it was full of emotions and a lot was happening there. And I was just really glad to get the picture and to actually find meaning behind the title Finding Me. I get it. I totally get it now. And I must say that this book was such a therapy for myself as well. And you guys know that I have also been through therapy, and I am still in therapy. As and when I feel that the going gets tough, I do visit my therapist, you know, just to make sure that I am still alive with myself, and I still understand who I am, and I still understand where I'm going, and I still believe in myself. And I hope you also do the same. Thank you so much for joining me again in this installment of the review, and I shall see you on my next video. Thank you. Bye bye.